Coming up in this episode of Behind the Sound.
Eventually, we brought it to the band, and then with the band, shout out to Freddie B.
Freddie B.
And he's like,
How did you? What was that?
My last love was a fast love. Call it love at first sight, infatuation in the class club. It's going down, people gather around. Grab a mic, let's rap, it's behind the sound. It's going down, people gather around. Grab a mic, let's rap, it's behind the sound.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Behind the Sound. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have this next guest on the show. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was part of one of the biggest and baddest R&B/hip hop groups called the Hi-Phonics. Since then, we've got a chance to share the stage together many times. We've performed and written songs with United Way together. He has become a very good friend and one of my absolute most favorite vocalists on the planet. Just a unique dude. If you have sat down and rapped with this dude, you know how unique this cat is and will always forever be his own style. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my very good friends, Fendercase.
brother.
/ Ian. I guess I could call you Ian too.
Ian. My mother calls me Ian. It's fine.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing really good. We've had a good time already today.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's always a good time sitting down and hanging with you. I'm glad that we get to rap on the show together. And then, of course, end with what is easily one of my favorite songs of all time, performing together. You're doing me the honor of letting me grace a little verse on that track, that Lovin', but we'll talk about that a little bit later, as I understand you have a bit of a story around the recording of that.
I've told the story to only a few people, but it is one of those things. I have, as you well know, am a very, very lucky person. I've lived a blessed life, and this is one of those blessings. How this song came to be.
It's always wonderful to sit down and even just the conversation we've had off camera with a professional. Not only the audio, but the photography and all of the other skill sets that you have, to sitting down and just immediately changing the mic game of this podcast, where I'm like trying to show you, hey, just, keep it about this, and you're like, like, let me show you the way, and just one little change kind of completely levels up the game. So I want you to know that not only do we get to sit and chat and hang out as friends, but how much I appreciate that level of professionalism that you bring to everything you do.
It's funny. I actually learned some of that professionalism from you. I know it's hard for everyone else to believe, but no, you've...
hard for me too.
You have always kept it very light and very cool, but you've always really brought a level of professionalism to everything you've done, and at every opportunity to be better and get better, you've done that. And I've seen you do it. I've learned from you and how to do that kind of thing. So you know what? Guess what? You notice I showed up a little early. I'm not trying to make you wait. Like, you got things to do, and you keep on showing other people that you can improve and you will improve if you try. So I'm just trying to be like you. That's
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. Let's go back to the Hi-Phonics, okay? Give us a little bit of insight, because I don't think most people know or understand unless you're from that era. And I've talked about this with other artists who are now more mature in their careers as well, who have come on this podcast. And that era of like flyering and that hand-to-hand guerrilla style marketing and promotions to be able to build one of the largest acts in Western Canada with the Hi-Phonics. Take us back to that era and what that was like for you.
So Curtis and I were singing as a duo, and we were just trying to establish ourselves. And we had done a thing with a person who shall not be named, but let's just say that he wasn't a very good person.
What are we talking about here?
He got, unbeknownst to me, he was up to all sorts of nefariousness, and we did some very, very basic work.
Okay.
And with a lot of youthful energy, we chased after it, but it didn't pan out. But we didn't feel like we were done. And just by happenstance, Curtis ran into Taro Hashimoto.
Yes, sir.
An OG here in Edmonton. OG. And he got together with us, and he was playing his guitar, and he was like, "Oh, I know some guys from the music school." and I'm going to bring him through. And he brings through what would end up being, honestly, some of the best musicians in Edmonton.
100%.
And they just were fresh out of school. So they heard what we were doing, they liked it, and they said, let's do this some more. So that would be Fred
And
Brenton.
so,
Go
okay,
ahead.
yeah.
Fred
That's what I was
Brenton.
going to clarify. Who are these cats?
Who are these cats?
Name them.
The Cats.
Yeah.
Fred Brenton on drums.
Oh, Freddie B.
Freddie B.
Freddie B.
Freddie B. Okay. Now, by the way, Freddie B on drums. It should be Freddie B
On everything.
On everything.
On everything.
We didn't even know.
So, side note,
Mm-hmm.
Freddie B, in our early stages of Planet Sound, we're going into our 15th year of business right now. When we started as a jingle company, just audio brands and radio commercials, there was a point in our career for about 5 years where we were custom producing every single beat for our clients so that nobody on the planet would have that audio brand.
Yeah.
Now we're in a world of licensing and there's hundreds of thousands of beats available that you can use at your fingertips of any genre you want, any instrument specifically you want. But at that time, Freddie B, I would just be like, yo, Freddie, I've got a $300 budget for this particular client.
Yep.
Can you throw together 2 instrumental options? This is the kind of style and flavor that we want. And bro would just play every single instrument on the track, hand over a week later 2 custom beats for the client to choose from like it was ain't no thing but
Crushed
a
it.
chicken wing and crush it. And we did that work together in the early stages of Planet Sound. So shout out to Freddie B. Sorry, Kate.
No, Freddie B is great.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, we locked down the rhythm section
Yes,
immediately.
yeah.
Moni Matthew on bass.
Come on.
I did start by saying I am blessed. All right. So for those of you who don't know, Moni is one of the greatest musicians around. Super
Anything
ear.
with a string. Give that guy anything with a string.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
Give
can
him
he can arrange it. He
a
can play
fishing
it.
rod and he'll play that shit.
I don't want to turn him into a circus act, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you could. So Fred and Moni come through, Taro on guitar, and later on, Arun Baumick would come in on guitar. And Arun,
I remember Arun too. I
Arun
never
is
had the
just-
pleasure of really. I think I played with him a couple times, but
just one of the best. One of those people who make the guitar seem like it's not just a guitar; it's something else. It's all the music.
Yeah.
So these guys come together with us, and we start making songs. Now Curtis is just one of those prolific, imaginative creatives that anything, anytime, any feeling, he can just come up with something. So we were suddenly making music every week. We get together for rehearsal and we're coming up with a new song. And Curtis comes in with a story. That story is being turned into a song.
yeah.
My
And then
process,
he's freestyling the verses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My process totally different. I was writing my songs on my own and I would bring it to them and then they just made them come to life. And we got really happy. I won't say good because it took time to grow, but we got really happy and excited about what we were doing. And then as soon as like in perhaps with a little bit too much hubris, we wanted to play. Where could we play? And one, nobody had ever heard of us because we didn't have a band and nobody knew us that way. And then when we said, well, we're this awesome group, we're called the Hi-Phonics.
Let's go. Let's go.
For those of you who need to see it at home, the Hi-Phonics. From where? I think you know. All right. And so nobody had ever heard of us, and nobody gave us anywhere to play except for New City Liquid Lounge over yonder.
Yeah.
A tiny little box of a room. Come play on a Thursday night, and we did, and we built our first gig. We actually made our own place, Colorblind on White Ave. We turned this clothing store, put up a stage, threw our first show there.
Sick.
Because we wanted to play on a Friday night. We just wanted to be the entertainment. We always believed we could do it. So we did this show. I think Much Music came out to film it. Like, it was ridiculous.
To your first show at Colorblind?
I told you, I am blessed. I'm not, like, for real. It's just like
Freddie at Colorblind? What, he just lined that up? Or what, you guys lined that up? How did that happen?
I think Curtis worked there. We knew Freddie and what was the name of the guy who owned the place? But we were friends. They hooked us up. They said, sure, use our space. We pushed all the clothes to the side. We literally built a stage out of plywood.
So dope. And that's how that stuff happened back then, right? It's
Had
like
to.
you knew a guy and Curtis knew a guy and we put these guys together and suddenly we know another guy at Much Music and suddenly we're doing a show at Colorblind with Much Music is there. It's not like, sending out a DM on Instagram that will never get seen to somebody at, I don't know, what would be the
Wherever.com.
equivalent of that now. There isn't really
gosh.
a Much Music, but some broadcast company,
There
right?
isn't a Much Music anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. Now that I think about it, it is kind of wild because that really was our first show.
That's crazy.
And they were there for that. They filmed, did a little thing. We talked a little bit.
Cool.
And
I totally remember that, and I remember seeing clips of it. Yeah.
And we hadn't even done anything yet.
Yeah.
And like literally, so like once we did that show, that was Friday night. Saturday night, that wasn't another show.
Yeah.
Many, many weeks later, we finally got a tiny show at New City Liquid Lounge.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but we started. And I think it was just our earnest effort because, like you said, flyering. We literally went out in the street and said, yo, you should come see this. We put up posters everywhere ourselves.
Right.
We did a lot of legwork in that way. And people took a liking to us, I would say. The A channel. Now, what is it? What is it called now?
Now radio?
No, A channel.
Oh, A Channel?
Yeah.
Is now City TV?
There we go.
Yeah.
City TV. Shout out to Shannon.
Shout out to Shannon. Shout out to Sunny Sidhu.
Sonny.
Sunny Sidhu?
Yep. Another OG fan of us.
OG. And we counted on guys like Sunny and Shannon to help promote.
And they did.
And they did.
Like and not even obviously like they have a hard job. They have to fill their airwaves every day with something. So they were happy to have something, but they were so generous and welcoming to us, and like they bigged us up like we were U2 coming to town kind of thing, and they gave us opportunities to perform, which of course really did catch people's ear. They're like, wow, that's an original group from Edmonton making that sound.
Yeah.
And
it was such a unique sound too.
Totally. And
it
like
still is.
And Curtis, again, being so creative and so prolific, is like in the middle of a song, all of a sudden he's freestyling right there on camera. Like you could see it. It was real.
Yeah.
And that sparked people. And we did it in the morning. Like, oh my gosh, the 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Not
The
an easy
A-channel show, baby.
Not easy to sing that early in the morning, but we were there and we were doing it.
Yeah.
And people started to take notice.
Yeah.
And we built up and up and up. But it didn't really kick off until September 11th, 2001. Everyone knows where they were that day. I was woken up that day by a call from new member Jay Cairns. He was playing bass with us at that time. Big Jay.
Come on, how many names you gonna drop, bro?
Like by the way, like that's just how fortunate I was. We were, and we were just
Shout out
having
to
fun.
Kid Kosher, baby.
Right? So he calls me up. He's like, turn on your TV. Like everyone else, I was seeing that the Twin Towers had fallen, and all of us, the whole world, we're shell shocked. Like life didn't seem. It was surreal, and we had our first headline show at the Sidetrack, which was at the time the biggest place to play.
That night,
Tuesday, September 11th. We had opened for Feast, which was the big dance band. They were hot. They had Friday, Saturday nights on lock at the Sidetrack, and they were disbanding, but we did like their last show. And our confidence in what we could do was always through the roof. And we were just like, we opened for them and we like came to slay. We came to throw down. And then we did great. And the Sidetrack was like, we like you. That was really good. And then Feast came out and like everybody was there to see them. And they like literally like polite applause. And then they hit the stage and it just blew up. And we were just like, what?
yeah.
We've got work to do. And we did. We went like, we literally hit the shed and wrote more songs and more show. And we wanted more drama in our show. So we were making a performance.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, we've got you. Here's your chance to prove to us that you can really carry a weekend, Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Wake up that morning, Twin Towers are falling.
Yeah.
Everything. The whole world's in disarray. It was a somber day. We got to sound check, and sound check was just kind of like, we're going to check the drums. We're going to check the vocals. Okay, I'm here. Thank you. Okay. And it was like, everybody was just quiet. And then we get showtime and nobody's there, as you can imagine. Nobody wanted to come out to the Sidetrack that day. So we were all affected just like everyone else. And our show was hype. Like, you've been there, but our show was hype and energy, and like we're singing and we're performing, and we didn't want to do that. So we talked about it. We're just like, let's just take it down a couple levels. And so we got out there. There's maybe 10 people, and maybe half of them work there. And people are literally crying in their beers. And we did our show, but we just like took it down like to level 3 out of 10. And the craziest thing, Curtis freestyled what everyone was feeling in the room, and there wasn't that many. But he hopped off the stage and literally went to the 3 tables of people and freestyled what everyone was feeling, how everyone was reacting to the day.
Crazy.
And I wish it was recorded. I wish I could just like roll the tape on it, because it was one of those amazing moments. And I'm going to imagine for us all, those people went and called their friends and said, I think you need to come down here, because 5 people for the first set out of 3. And then we come out to the second set and there was like 20 people. And again, tears in their eyes, quiet. We turn up the volume to maybe 5. And we perform and we're singing our songs, and people are appreciating that we're at least trying to make people feel better. And then by the end of the second set, those 20, 30 people were dancing. And then I think while we were taking an intermission, they must have called their friends, because by the time we came to finish our third set, it's 11 o'clock on September 11th, there might have been 50, 70 people there. And we were entertaining them. And they were dancing and they were feeling good. And I don't think it ever got to there, but it did something. We felt okay. Like, we were like, I needed to do that. I need to get my emotions out. I got to do that. And the people were there. They received it. The next day, those same people, like when there's that many few people, you recognize their faces. Those same people came back the next night and they brought their friends. Thursday, September the 13th of 2001, we had a sold out show at the Sidetrack.
Crazy.
All of those people brought their friends.
Yeah.
And said, these guys helped us get through this. They're gonna help you get through it. We brought it hype, the third show, all hype, all gas, no brakes. And the Sidetrack said, you guys, tell us what weekend you want. You got it. And from then, like, that was it. That's when we established the next time we performed at the Sidetrack, it was Friday night, summertime, hot, lineup, sold out. We had arrived.
That's a crazy story, bro.
September 11th.
Unreal.
I know where I was.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And so from there, like, I mean, one of my questions is like, what is one of the craziest shows? But how do you top that? Like, do you top that sequence of events that happened? Because I remember you were performing the most of any local group I had ever seen. And obviously for good reason. You brought such a unique sound and you made people feel something through your music. What do you remember? What was the phase that happened after that?
More growth. So we had a full show, 3 sets of original music.
Yeah.
Curtis is definitely our creative drive. These are not my ideas. But again, drama. Do you remember when we used to start our show off with a scene?
A scene?
A scene.
No.
One of our songs was Ipanema. And it's a story.
Girl from Ipanema.
Yeah. So we started off with like Curtis was at like some French cafe.
Yeah.
And we had a table and he had a little beret and he
Let's go.
And we started off with this scene and then we worked that scene into the song. And that's how the show started. Like, and again, it's still the Sidetrack. There's not a theater. We don't have lighting for that kind of thing. But that's the kind of drama we were trying to bring. We were trying to entertain in every which way. And Curtis was also exploring himself as a creative person. So he's dressed wild, his hair is wild, he has the ideas he's bringing. And like, so when he's like, let's do a freestyle, what he's freestyling about is wild.
Yeah.
But we were there to entertain. And like my voice in the whole thing is different. Like he and I are very different.
Yeah.
But together it was kind of like Outkast.
Yeah.
It's the simplest way to
100%.
to
Complement
make
each other so different.
So
different
different
from each other.
But
they
if
work.
you're listening to it, it's just like, if you had only one of them, it would have been too much of just one of them.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they switch gears, you're just like, oh, there you go. And they can go back and then they come together. That's what we did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it was an amazing thing. And we just kept on growing. That was all of it. Now,
Yeah.
here's the craziest thing. The whole thing was 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beginning to end.
Beginning to end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it felt like so much more. Because you're right. We performed a lot.
Yeah.
Did a lot of shows. We were on the road a little bit. We went to Montreal. That was, let's say, it was ill-planned, perhaps ill-advised, but still absolutely necessary.
Ah, classic tour.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
Classic. You asked what was a crazy show? It might have been the whole thing in Montreal.
Yeah.
We went with nothing booked
Yeah.
and nothing planned. We had we got there and we had one show that we were going to perform, and I think it was at a school in the afternoon.
Crazy.
That was like the one thing that we had.
That's
an
a
appointment.
long way to go for nothing booked. Yeah.
And
You drove, got in a bus with all the gear and drove.
Yep. And then there was that night we played at a club, but it was like a Tuesday night that they were like, we don't usually have anybody on Tuesday night. So if you want to play, you can. And whoever comes through the door and is willing to pay, you can have that.
Yeah.
And we were just telling people, yeah, come to this place tonight. And a couple, just like on September 11th, a couple of people came through. By the way, we learned from other great acts that you bring it 1,000% every performance. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So sound check was solid and nobody was there. Literally no one. The bar staff is behind the bar.
Yeah, but
Arms
you're going
crossed.
off.
What are you guys
Yeah.
going to do? And we hit the stage. Boom.
Yeah.
And people heard from the street.
At sound check, bro? You didn't save anything for the show?
Oh, we did. But
okay.
But like the show was like, hit it. Like,
Yeah.
We came all this way. We
Yeah.
have all this energy pent up.
Yeah.
Let's do it. People heard from the street, literally listening from outside. Like, what's going on? Heads poking the door.
Yeah.
They came in and they all called their friends. And so by the end of the night, 30 people in Montreal who'd never heard of us
Yeah.
loved it. And where's your next show? We don't know. Oh, my friend has an open mic night at a place just down the block. Come tomorrow night. We show up to the next night. Craziest thing. Whole bunch of people. This is a well-established thing. So there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
They don't have room for us. This is a open mic. This is not stage for a band. It's like one person with a guitar kind of space. So we literally barely bring in our instruments, and then the power goes out. Mid-show, candles light up. Curtis and I have a history of performing a cappella.
Yeah. Sick.
And one of our guys from the a cappella group that we did like back in high school lived in Montreal. So he was there.
Come on. Yeah.
3 of us, 3-part harmony. Sorry, y'all. The show ain't done.
Yeah.
So we're just singing whatever we can think of.
Yeah.
For a couple of minutes while the power's out. And
Yeah.
like we didn't do a lot, but the people were just like, bravo, like thanks for trying.
Yeah.
Where are you guys going next? We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, my
Come
cousin
over here. Yeah.
and for real, we were maybe there for like 3 weeks and we just did whatever we could.
That's
And at the end of
crazy.
3 weeks, we played at this one place. It was like up a bunch of stairs. It was off Saint Laurent. And it was like their hot night. It was a Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And we set up for sound check and they're just like, yeah. And the promoter was somebody who had seen us at one of these shows that just happened.
Of course. Yeah.
And he was like, you guys have to come through the thing.
Yeah.
I'll pay you. I'm going to promote it. And next thing you know, we're on Saint Laurent
So
and there's posters.
kids.
Yeah.
Kids out there, what you know about that grind? You know what I mean? Like putting your stuff in a van, taking your bandmates,
7 of
driving
us.
across the country with a school show booked. Probably, was that a paid gig? Or was that just like, do you remember? Yeah, so not even a paid gig. You're like, hey, you can come perform at the school for us.
Yep.
And that's the kind of risk and hustle and
So risky.
grind that it takes, you know?
Now, I will say that we were definitely young and there was a romance to it that we were all okay with it.
Of course.
Like I couldn't do it now.
100%. You think
But-
I'm leaving red and gray for 3 weeks to jump in a van with you to go to Montreal? Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. But we did it, and it was just amazing that like we got on the radio station. We got on the college radio. They
Unreal.
played one of our records on the radio.
Yeah.
We did a radio interview.
Yeah.
Did we get on TV?
But you guys were that good though, man. You were really that good. And obviously from that trip came another one of my favorite tunes from Hi-Phonics.
Oh, Montreal.
Montreal.
By the way, that's why we wanted to go, because that song came before we went there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we were performing that song there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so like, but by the way, maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
It was a dream to get there.
Yes.
And to do it.
Yes.
And so we wanted to realize it, and we did. So after 3 weeks, sold out show,
Yeah.
lined up down the block.
Crazy.
And I don't even think the lineup was for us. I think it's because it was a hot place to be.
Right.
But then we performed,
Yeah.
and the crowd
You
reflected,
killed it,
just
yeah.
like the energy back and forth. It was so intense, and that was a wild show. But
Yeah.
it was wild because it came from nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Right.
We ground for 3 weeks, and suddenly a sold out show that people were excited to be at, because the people that had seen us along the way were absolutely there. And then they brought their friends, and it's like, we told you this was going to be good, and we blew it up. It just,
What do you think is one of the hardest lessons that you've learned in music during that time?
I think one of the hard lessons is not necessarily like a hard lesson, like I made a mistake and I learned from a mistake, but for all of our confidence and our hubris, we found out, we thought we were really, really good, and then somebody showed us what it really took.
Yeah.
I think just about anybody in any endeavor, I think there's, young kids who are basketball players, and they're the man. They're him. They're the best player on their team, best player in their state, best in the country even. And they think they're working hard. They think they're good. They think they have it figured out. And then they meet a professional.
Yeah.
Not LeBron James.
Yeah.
Just a professional.
Just anybody.
Some guy
yeah.
who's like, I've been playing professionally for 10 years. You don't know my name.
Yeah.
But this is the work I have to do every day to stay at the level I'm at.
Yes.
Why don't you work out with me, young man?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, that young man is throwing up.
Dead.
And like, I can't.
Dead. Yeah.
Well, this is what I have to do every day just to be somebody you don't know.
There's levels.
There's levels to this.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Pocket Dwellers, one of my favorite bands. I'm acquainted with some of the guys. They were the greatest. And one of our early shows, shout out Brad Smith.
Brad
See you,
Smith.
homie. He was booking entertainment at the Iron Horse, just off White.
Yeah.
And he booked them, and it got us to open for them. And we were still early on, but again, we were feeling, our britches are tight, man. We're feeling it. And we did our soundtrack before them. And so we did our thing, and we threw down, and they were like a bunch of brothers, a bunch of people. They're from Toronto, and they were like, wow, you guys are really good. Like, that was, I'm like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
We're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they hop on the stage.
And then.
And it was just like, they were wiring up the detonator right there. And it was like, you ready? Boom. And it was just like, oh my goodness. And like, it was, again, it's sound check. There's nobody here. It's the middle of the afternoon. Our show's in the evening.
Yeah.
And boom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was just like, we all, like our band, we look at each other, we're like, oh no, we thought we were bringing it.
Yeah. There's always somebody
haven't
better.
brought it. Like,
Yeah.
And it was just like, they were so good.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so grateful that they did like us and they like what we did, because they could have just dismissed us and never even talked to us, because we weren't on their level, and we thought we were.
Right.
But the next time we saw them, which was on their way to Montreal,
Yeah.
we marked on the calendar they were playing in London, Ontario.
Oh, nice.
So we pulled up.
Yeah.
And we were like, there was just them on the bill, and we're like, can we open for you again?
What?
But like, this is like literally a year later. This is all of the growth already. This is past September 11th. This is 2002 now.
Yeah.
Can we open for you again? And they're like, absolutely, bro. Like, they're nothing but love between us, right?
I love this grind.
Yeah. And so this time we're ready.
Yeah.
And again, there's no competition, but this is just like, we wanted to show them some love for what they taught us.
Well, and it's a year later too. That's probably how many shows? At least 50 shows later.
More than that.
Yeah.
Like, we really did perform a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So this time we had our own detonator.
Yeah.
And if I had to say, I think that if you were at wherever that place was in London, Ontario,
Yeah.
I think you might have seen the greatest show
Of all time.
of all time. God,
I wish I could have seen that.
Like the song, I can't tell you how this is just a tribute. Like this, it was like, we threw down, and it was hot and sweaty by the time we were done.
Yeah.
And then they came and did even
And
more.
killed
Like
it. Yeah.
if you were just there to be entertained,
Yeah.
your ears are melting. Your eyes are just like, oh, what happened? How did I?
Yeah, so
Good.
You got to respect that hustle, though. Like I talk about this a lot, and it's that creating the opportunity. It's not just about being lucky, but you guys figured out a date on the way. You wanted to make sure that you could hit them there and ask them to open up. Like that opportunity doesn't just fall into your lap. That is created and manifested by a group of guys for you to put on one of the craziest shows alongside one of your favorite acts that you've ever done it beside, you know? That is an excellent excellent example of hustle and grind that you put that together. I love hearing that.
Like that's how impactful it is for me. It's just like I'm speechless.
Yeah.
It was such an exciting show.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it was just an opportunity. And by the way, like we did drive 48 hours straight to get there on time.
Right.
But I'm so glad we did.
Right.
I just wish like in this day and age now where everything's recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I would want to hear that show because we were ready. And by the way, it was also like after being in a van for 2 days, we wanted to get out and stretch our legs. This is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did promise you another great story.
Okay.
So the song that we performed,
Yeah.
I just watched the Michael Jackson Thriller
Yeah.
documentary. Have you seen it?
I
Boy,
haven't, no.
In it, Michael Jackson's quote is saying is like, every song is a gift from God. Like you just have to listen for it. Yeah. Yeah. So 2000, it was 2000. Yes. Cause I actually just looked it up. I actually looked up like my notes for when I wrote it. It was 2000. I had been called for jury duty. Yes. Great stories start with, I was called for jury duty.
I want to get called for jury duty.
Right?
I've never been called for jury duty.
I haven't been called again. I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like I thought everybody did, and I thought it happened all the time. But
Yeah.
anyways, here I am, 24,
Yeah.
called for jury duty, and
24, 10 years
old.
ago.
No, I was 24 years old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, 20. Sorry.
You were
Sorry.
catching what I was putting down there.
Just cut that.
Yeah.
Right. Just like 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I had been seeing this girl. We both knew it wasn't going anywhere, and this was like the last time we would see each other. And I've got jury duty the next day, so I'd seen her. We had a wonderful night. Went to a movie. Had a nice day. And
And then you
day,
dumped her.
No, it was just like she was moving away.
Okay,
She was moving
okay.
away. And I had to get up early for jury duty. Hooray!
Yeah.
So and I was definitely in a writing mode at that point. I was writing all the time, and I had the writing book, the pen, and I'm on one of the old buses here in Edmonton, one of the leather seats with the steel
yeah.
old bus from the farthest part of town to get downtown early for jury duty. And I wrote these lyrics, and I wrote lots of things that day. I saw it, so I wrote tons of things, and closed the book, put it away. Jury duty, life goes on. And then the Hi-Phonics went up to Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, to do the summer festival. So that was like April, May. This is now June, July. Now, it'll be a surprise to some people, but I grew up in a lot of soul music, but not all of it. And I had literally just been introduced to Donny Hathaway, one of my favorite singers, one of the greatest singers of all time. And so I had the live album, which is everybody should have it. It's phenomenal. It'll change your life. But I had ordered, hey kids, I ordered a CD from Japan. And it had finally come in. So I have this new record. We're about to get on a bus for 24 hours to drive north. And I have my headphones. You know me. I've had headphones always.
Yeah, in the car. Doesn't matter where this fucking guy is. He's got his headphones on.
All the time. I have my headphones. I have my CD player on non-skip.
Yeah. Oh, classic.
Mega bass.
Yeah, the yellow Sony non-skip with the bass, bro.
Yo.
Oh, you're living life.
I'm set. Got
Yeah.
batteries.
Yeah, extra batteries in tow.
I'm ready. Okay.
I had that Walkman also,
Yeah.
but mine was hollowed out. I put my weed in there. That's where I put my weed, and I sold that shit. I had little bags of weed in my Walkman, in my Discman. Nobody knew. hollowed that shit out. There's a few screws. Did you know?
No.
There's a few screws. You take out the compartment. This was actually the Discman, or the Walkman, not the Discman.
Okay.
And then you take out the cassette portion. You just unscrew it, and then now you've got this hollow container that you can discreetly put your weed in there.
I'm a square man.
Sorry, but continue. Yes.
So, so
Or your peanuts, as Fender would say. It's like, smells like peanuts.
smells like somebody's roasting peanuts.
There's just peanuts in here. Yeah. Every rehearsal.
Shout out to the Hi-Phonics.
Yeah.
That's what we call it. Everyone's gonna go roast some peanuts. It's fine. So a bunch of bands on the bus. Everybody wants to party. The cases of beers are rolling in. This is all of this is not my bag.
Yeah.
So I'm at the front of the bus hoping to avoid all of that. And unfortunately, the party decided
square.
to be right behind me. Like,
Yeah.
and like we're talking kicking my seat and everything.
Of course.
And
It's a bus.
I literally just want to listen to some beautiful music that I've ordered from Japan. Like, I just want some peace, and I'm not getting it. All right, so it's me by myself. Arun is across the aisle from me, and the Painting Daisies, another group from way back in the day, a bunch of young women who were very, very good and very, very nice. And they were sitting there, and we're all just trying to chill, and the chill is not happening, and I'm losing my mind. And like, I'm not a violent man, but let me tell you how I was being tested that day. And it was visible. Again, like, I do really mean my seat is being kicked. I'm literally listening to beautiful music, and all of a sudden,
Yeah. Rowena loves that shit. Yeah.
right? So it was going bad, and I was getting very, very angry, and visibly so. And my boy Arun sees me getting visibly angry. He sees what I'm going through, and I think I eventually did snap and say, "Yo, take it to the back of the bus. That's what you want to do." So I think it calmed down a little.
Sure, Dad.
But I was seething, and Arun asks one of the Painting Daisies to borrow their guitar, and literally he just starts strumming. And he's a beautiful guitar player. He's a beautiful person. And he just starts making some beautiful music off the dome. And it is the chord progression you're hearing in that Lovin. So just listening to that music alone is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
beautiful.
Suddenly I'm listening, calming down. Everybody's paying attention because he's just like tearing it up. Not fast, just beautiful. And I pull out my lyric book. Drama. And I land on these lyrics that I just wrote. I'm like, huh. And no word of a lie, I open my mouth to sing, and what I sang to what he played is exactly what you heard. Not polished, not different, not like, let me do it 50 more times and now I know how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I sang those words like you hear it now.
And so when you wrote it, did you have the melody in mind?
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing at all. Just
lyrics.
Words. Just lyrics.
Lyrics, no melody, and then the melody came to you. You heard it, and they're like, "This is it."
Opened my mouth and sang, and it was really slow. And we're on the bus, and suddenly a little cloud of quiet around us because
you're forced to listen. You're singing quiet, beautiful guitar, falsetto comes in. You're drawn to quiet down and listen.
And I think we might have played it like 2 or 3 times. I don't think I recorded it, but it stuck.
That's crazy.
And we played it again the next day. Like it grew with some time. And then eventually we brought it to the band. And then with the band, shout out to Freddie B.
Freddie B.
Because like it was super slow and super acoustic.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, and like, I don't know how he does what he does, but he picked the right field, not
He's
too
a
fast,
fucking genius, man.
not too slow.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a genius. I'll tell you another Freddie B story.
Hit me.
I actually ran into him, where were we? The old Lush or whatever, and he was DJing there.
Yeah.
And we were performing with the Brass Tactics, one of the first shows that Jing and Jock did.
Okay.
And there's Freddie B spinning vinyl,
Yep.
real vinyl. Like
Yep.
he broke out the real vinyl.
That's his thing. Yeah.
And so we catching up with him, just like shooting the shit. Hey man, so good to see you. Blah blah blah. And we're sitting down and we're eating some chicken wings in there. Some of the best bar chicken wings I've ever had. And of course, Freddie B is just like slaying, like track after track, mashup after mashup.
Like he just knows how to do it.
He knows. And so I just got to catch up with him there. And then another thing came up for one of the podcast shows where I'm like, you know what? I think I need a little Freddie B touch on this. I know that I can just send him these vocals and this sort of scratch instrumental that we have for it. And he's just going to do the Freddie B magic, which he did. But the actual story of that is like when we're talking about it over the phone, it's like, okay, you want this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, just off the cuff, he's like, what is this, 95 BPM? I'm like, yes, Freddie. I'm like, yes. Yes, it's exactly 95 BPM, Freddie.
Not 96 either, right? Like, there's a difference. Because most of them go even, right? 96, 94.
Yeah. Like, you fucker. Yes, Freddie.
Yep.
It's 95 BPMs. Like, just classic Freddie B right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to big up his latest project, Kimberlite Records.
Yeah.
It is a throwback sound with modern, brand new tunes.
Yeah. Dope.
And I wrote 2 songs with Freddie, and they're some of my favorites. But he is a genius. And I cannot believe that when he was with us in the Hi-Phonics, it was just Freddie on drums.
Yeah.
It should have been Freddie on everything.
Yeah. Drummers are just like that, though. You
No.
know?
I think Freddie's special. I think
Freddie's special. But I mean, like, nobody knows pocket like a drummer. I just feel like drummers are the most kind of, they get the least love sometimes in the band, and they fucking hold that shit down. But Freddie, again, we talk about levels, like Freddie, come on. You know what I mean? And just the coolest, nicest, kindest guy around.
And he can sing. Like
What?
he can sing. Like really sing.
No, he can't.
He can sing.
How
like
have
Slade.
I never heard him sing?
Okay, I'll play you one of my favorite records. It's on my phone. It's Freddie B. You won't believe it. You won't believe it.
How have you never let me hear your voice? Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding
So
you.
he's a quintuple set. What's the word for octuple threat? Like, he plays everything and he sings.
Yeah.
Wow.
And writes.
So getting back, Freddie, props,
Freddie,
levels,
props, love.
incredible, Freddie. Getting back to Fred. So getting back to how that Lovin' came together, and I have songs like that too that just sort of fell into my face and came out of my body.
Mm-hmm.
Would you argue that that is how the magic happens? Or has there been a song that you've recorded that you had to grind it out and work at that is on that level? Or is there a magic in the speed and kind of the ease of flow of that kind of level of songwriting?
Sometimes it's a little bit of both. Like not everything lands perfectly. Some like lots of songwriters will tell you there's some songs that they wrote in 50 minutes. Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, wrote in 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was writing with a great piano player who did all the things.
Right.
But like the words and like the whole feel.
Right. Boom.
By the way, she also has written other #1 singles long before that.
Sure.
She knows what she's doing.
Sure. But they don't all flow out in 50 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say that sometimes the grinding process is about trying to find it. But a question that I've asked rhetorically, because I don't think there is a real answer, but sometimes it's like, why do you think you nailed it? Why do you think you got it? And like the proof is when other people tell you that you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example, United Way. That was something you asked me to write. I came to the studio with everyone else while everyone else was writing their verses. I was just like, okay, I need to feel it. And it's like, you had never worked with me that way. So you're just like, are you going to join in? I'm like, no, I got to go home and do a thing. I'm like, but we're here to write right now. And like, I went back and I wrote the chorus.
Is that how it happened? I don't even really recall that. Okay.
Yep. Well, I don't think we were like writing the final version.
Okay.
But like the first listening.
Yeah.
Everybody was like feeling out what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And so was I.
Yeah.
But I went home and I wrote and I wrote a bunch of different things and I tried a bunch of different things. And then when I found it, it was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew I'd found it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is like, I wish I knew why I knew I had found it.
Yeah.
Because I called you and I said, I got something.
Yeah.
And I sent you like a very rough, broken down version. And you're like,
yes. Yeah. That's it.
That's it is.
Yeah.
Right. And it did take me days to get there. There weren't like, everything else I did didn't sound like that. It wasn't like I was close and I just polished it a bit.
But when
was
it
like,
happens, you know.
When I got it, I knew it. And I didn't know what everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
Like the way it all came together.
Yeah.
is perfect.
One of the baddest audio brands of all time, if I may say so myself. And let me just a little side note on the United Way project that we did. It was the first audio brand that they had ever put together on a national level, international level, really. And they had seen one of our previous audio brands that we did. And they're like, hey, we want something cool like that. We've got this new catchphrase. Change starts here. We'd really want to stand out and get out of the old mom and pop's organization look and feel and brand and do something cool and hip and happening. And we were the guys to put that together. And just the combination of you, myself, Drizzle,
Yeah.
Omar, there's just a certain magic that happens when you put the right people together. And I'm not the greatest rapper. I'm not the greatest singer. I'm not the greatest musician, but I kind of have a good sense of putting those pieces together. And that's a really proud moment for me, rocking alongside with you guys and putting that song together that generated 40,000 views on that video, the most ever for a local United Way organization.
By the way, not available on YouTube anymore.
It is.
I didn't find it underneath United Way. I did find it,
Yeah.
but not
It
the
is.
original.
It is. It's still there. It's still there. Nobody took it down, but it is. I know what you mean. It's not. It doesn't search up easily, but it is still there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it is still there.
I'm very proud of it, and I don't want it to go away.
Yeah, and it's the first ever, I don't know if you know that, I'm sure you do, the first ever time that a local brand of United Way became the national campaign because of that song. All the United Ways across Canada picked that song up and used it as part of their campaign as well. So one of my proud moments that we get to share together, brother. You know?
By the way, that really was beautiful. It was fun to be a part of. The whole experience was magical. That's the best way I could say it. It was magical. And the things that came along with it were opportunities that were, again, it wasn't about it being lucrative. It was just like, it always felt good.
Yes.
And it was neat. Just like the different places we ended up performing.
Totally. That you would never think a hip hop R&B song would go get performed at Epcor or, corporate functions and all these things where people are just like, their heads are exploding because of this cool song that we got to put together. And then the remix. Like to follow up a song like that or a movie like that, like Coming to America, is like the sequel is you're always weary of it. You're hesitant. But the remix of that song, dare I say, you came more correct on that remix even than the original.
We were definitely in a pocket.
Yeah.
Because like that, the whole rubato intro was like totally different.
Yeah. Dropping into the beat, of the verses on that.
Yep.
With the strings and everything. Again, none other than Freddie B.
Yep.
Freddie B on that beat.
Right? And Moni was in the video.
Yeah. Moni's in the video?
Yeah, he was with strings.
Oh, yes. Yeah, on the original Chain Starts Here video.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But no, just madness.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the times when it was a grind.
Yeah.
Like I ground that one out, but the moment you found it, you found it.
Yeah.
And it's, let's face it, like everybody likes something that no one else likes. I'm weird. Not everything I like, the things that I like are generally speaking not the things that everyone else likes. I've always walked to my own drum in that way. But like when I found that chorus and other things, I just knew.
Yeah.
And I run with that feeling.
Yeah.
That's also why I don't force it.
Yeah. Is that a process for you when you're writing? Is that like you prefer to write on your own? I like to write that way too. I don't really like writing sessions. I feel like, I don't know, I don't like the pressure of that. And forcing something. It's like, okay, we're here for 3 hours and I've got to, something's got to come out. It's got to be dope. It's more like I'm driving the kids home or I drop the kids off at school and I'm sitting in the parking lot and I have this idea for a lyric and then the beat comes on and suddenly I've got 16 bars in like 6 minutes of writing.
Yep, just pull over to the side of the road to get it down.
Yeah. Is that the process for you?
Most of the time, working with Freddie B, again, that also helps. Like, working with Fred is able to provide you lots of support. And we wrote the songs together that were not about reinventing the wheel. this is an old style of music that we're doing. And I just remember that like the words were really simple. Like obviously they had to rhyme in the way that songs have to rhyme, but it was just like simple. Just and we worked at it, but it wasn't hard, and it happened pretty quickly. And then like he came with the melody, like he said, like I want you to sing something that sounds like this, and he would give me a scratch vocal, like this is the chorus that I came up with, and I want you to sing this song, and we have to write the song around this. Even just that little bit, it's just like here's one piece of the puzzle, and now we need to draw the rest of the puzzle around it.
Right.
Cool. And it was easy to do it with him, and it was great. And literally, it was a little bit like paint by numbers.
Yeah.
Like it was just like here the bridge in one song. I'm down here on my knees, begging, baby, please. Like that's not rocket science. And there are much greater songs written. Stevie Wonder has written all of those great songs with much better prose. But let me tell you how we knew what the music needed to do, the vocals needed to do this, and the words were just simple and gets the job done.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a great song at the end.
Dope.
So I've learned not to overthink it, but I definitely don't like the pressure. Curtis seemed to thrive
In that pressure.
like,
Every artist is different.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's probably 2 or 3 Hi-Phonics songs that he made up on the spot.
Yeah.
That are bangers.
Yeah.
But
Well, he's freestyling the verse in Montreal, probably, right?
Yeah. I think he is. Obviously once it's recorded, it's not a freestyle anymore. But
Right.
But yeah, I think like his process for that part of the song,
Yeah.
freestyle.
Yeah, so crazy. Even those times, as great as you all were, and obviously we've talked about every piece of that puzzle and how awesome each player was, you really stood out to me. I wanted to hear you more. I know Curtis is great. He was always great, very talented. I got to hang out, smoke weed with him. He's Jamie's cousin, who was one member of our group, Dark Sun Tribe. And so I got to hang out with Curtis on a personal level before I even really knew about the singing and stuff. And then Hi-Phonics came after that. But when you sang and you toured, you brought the roads out and you would just you and a vocal, and it would be in the middle of a set, you know? It's like, it was such a treat to hear that. And it was my favorite part of your shows. As hype as all of the shows were, and you and Curtis together and all of those players together, when it got stripped down and it was like a fucking keyboard and Fendercase, it was my favorite part of the show.
Thank you. Making me blush.
It's true.
I think that with the Hi-Phonics, I'm very, very grateful that it was exactly the way it was.
Yeah.
One, because it's not easy to do what I was doing, and to do as much as it would take to entertain for everybody. I was just, who was I talking about the other day? Billy Joel. What a long pantheon of songs that we all know and love.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do. And for it to be cool behind a keyboard is actually really, really difficult to do. Like, you know, once you get like, the list could be like Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Billy Joel, Elton John.
Yeah.
And then where? Like, not too many after that.
Fendercase?
I'm in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But so it was hard to do. And maybe because it was as exactly how it was, that was the perfect amount. Always leaving wanting more kind of thing. And Curtis had the energy and the wherewithal. And the other part is that he was standing and I was sitting. And as cool as I might think I am, I'm not that cool. Perfect example, in the United Way video, the way you look on the screen, it's not just that you are cool or familiar. You look like you were always meant to be there.
Oh.
Like,
thanks,
like
man.
there's a what do we call it? Dolly shot where we're moving.
Yeah.
By the way, it wasn't really a dolly. It was a very, very low budget thing.
Yeah.
But where you're walking along a fence.
Yeah.
And the camera's moving with
Following
you.
along, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like
Thanks,
take
man.
away the sound.
Yeah.
And if you said like, here's, hey class, this is how you do a music video dolly shot.
Yeah.
You can't do it much better than that.
Yeah.
You were moving to a rhythm and the camera's moving and you never moved out of frame. Now, I'm saying all that to say like, that is something you can't teach and you look cool doing it. Being on stage, being the center focal point of everybody's eyes, moving, I'm not good at that.
How did you? What was that? You sexy baby.
But to be able to do that all night,
Yeah.
it's not easy to do.
Yeah, but they didn't need you to do that. You had to hold the keys down, bro.
Exactly. So it just so happens I got to hold things down.
Yeah.
So I did. And so when the attention came to me, I'm singing, you're loving that.
Yeah.
The band's playing, you're loving that.
Yeah.
But if you had to watch an hour of me sitting with not being able to move very much,
Yeah.
like this isn't, oh my luck, baby, a whole lot of
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't do all
Yeah.
that.
I get that.
So
yeah, I got
it was
you.
a perfect thing. And then the balance was there. So I sang. And by the way, the other part is I arranged all the vocals for most of the songs.
Right.
So you're definitely still hearing me.
vocals are tight on that Lovin'. Whew.
And by the way, I don't want to take all the credit.
Yeah.
Everybody I played with brought my songs to life.
Right.
I still arranged vocals. I said, sing here, sing there, like layers. I wrote it out. I played it out, like all the
Right.
things. So for me, you're hearing me the entire time.
Yeah. So I mean, winding this down, one of the things that I want to mention about the Hi-Phonics as well, and a bunch of those players that have come from your band that I've had an opportunity to work with later in life, is that there's a musician who is really seasoned and experienced and can sight read and reads music really well. And there's fucking guys who can play. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was the difference between what you did, is that nobody had a stand with sheet music ever. Every motherfucker in that band played. You know what I mean? And not to say anything around educated musicians who are really good at what they do and sight read, but there was a real skill set, talent, and vibe in your band that I think to this day is unrivaled. And also, in addition to that, when Dark Sun Tribe was performing with backtracks and a DJ and to CDs and stuff like that, and I was arranging the CD to take out that little half a second blip so that each song in the performance would drop one after the other. And then we started seeing the Hi-Phonics and we became friends, and we thought, you know what? I don't really know a hip hop group that does it with a live band. And you forced us to level up as well, where we thought we were the shit. And here's this band performing way more than us, doing cooler shows than us, with a way larger skill set and musicianship to them, that we were able to put those things together and be one of the first, I think, local hip hop groups backed by a live band, and the super band, which came after Hi-Phonics. So I'm really grateful for that journey, the musical journey that we've had together.
My only disappointment is that there's not more proof.
Yeah. Like now, where there's that constant reliving moments from moments ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could show the young kids coming up just that.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's very different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where there isn't a sidetrack, which wasn't the biggest place, but it did sound good. And it was good to perform in. And everybody said so. Big acts, way bigger than us, have come through and played there and said
they loved it. Yeah.
This is a good place.
Such a vibe.
Where's that place now?
Yeah.
400 people, good sound,
Yeah.
where you can dance
Yeah.
and drink.
Oh, it's true, man.
Tough. But it's a different time. And I'll let the kids have it. It's fine. But
Yeah.
I wish that they could have seen or heard. And by the way, that goes for me too. My sister, I have two older sisters, and one of them was in a very popular band, and I don't have any recordings to go and listen to and see what my sister was doing.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad that we've remixed this iconic track,
iconic.
That Lovin', one of my favorites of all times, in the Get Shit Done booth. Thank you for letting me jump on that.
I didn't realize the booth had a name.
Yeah. It says, well, there's a
I saw the sign.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's the Get Shit Done booth. And we got shit done.
We got it done.
So I appreciate you letting me jump on that with you. And I love you, brother. You are a pro. You are a talent. And I'm so grateful that I get to call you my friend and listen to your vocal live and in my car every time it shuffles in. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I hope that you always receive my praise of you and your growth. Like you've come so far.
Thank you, bro.
And you work so hard. Like I see it. I respect it. I have nothing but love for it.
I love you, bro. I
love you too, bro.
appreciate you, man.
All right.
Get that sexy falsetto ready. Fendercase in the booth, baby.
Fire in the booth.
What?
Fire in the booth.
Yeah. You know, once in a while, there's a song that comes along, and I'm talking like a few times in a lifetime, that when it shuffles into your phone, you never skip it. And that Lovin' is a song like that for me. Ladies and gentlemen, live on Behind the Sound, Fendercase.
I still think about it, baby. Never knew my lady could do that to me. It's not supposed to linger. You've got me all wrapped around your finger. What have you done to me? That loving, can you feel me? That loving got me burning up. Got to get it the way I got it. That loving, baby. That loving, can you feel me? That loving got me burning up. Got to get it the way I got it. That loving, baby.
My last love was a fast love. Call it love at first sight, infatuation in the class, bruv. I asked a friend, who's your friend? She got a boyfriend, whatever. The dudes pretend, cause she ain't never had a 10. Tell her no like Jane. I never had a 10, so dope, a short thing. And early on, I was ignoring divorce rates. My fortune each morning is your face in the morning rays. And I adore you even more than our fourth date. I know I ignore you and bore you in the worst ways. Every day's my birthday, you so worth it. I don't deserve her, I wasn't worthy in the first place.
That loving, can you feel me? That loving got me burning up. Got to get it the way I got it. That loving, babe. Cause you took me there. Took me right down. And I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come here. Bring it in, bro. Yo, I love that song. I love you, bro.
Thank you, man. I love you too, man. All right.